But she's starting from zero.
No, no, she worked with her uncle, um, or her stepdad. Sorry, her stepdad, and worked with him for years. She's done business. Now she's just on her own.
Yeah, she was just telling me at lunch.
So she still has. I mean, she has business. She knows how to do business. She's just not working with the same person.
Okay.
So
What makes you think she has the most potential?
she's just one of those with drive.
Okay.
You can see the drive in that. You can see she's her why is strong. Whenever people have that why where they're very confident and they know exactly what they need to do and why they need to do it. Hers, for example, is for her family, making sure she can take care of her husband, her kids, all that different stuff that comes along with it. I think that when they have that drive, they know what they're going to do and they're going to do it.
That's interesting.
Failure is not an option.
Who's her Viper?
Beth.
Beth is her
Yeah.
Viper. Okay.
Yep.
So she can really help her with the life insurance side of things.
For sure. For sure. So now that you've been in the business for a while, right?
Mhm.
You've been here since what, October of last year?
Yeah, I think so.
September, somewhere in that range?
Yeah.
So what do you see as the biggest thing holding back for the financial advisors from a marketing standpoint?
They're just not marketing. A lot of them are not doing anything. They're doing the bare minimum.
Okay.
But if you're an independent financial advisor, building your personal brand is just as important as marketing your firm. I would say even more important. But if the community doesn't know who you are, how good you are, then that's why you're not getting any business.
So if you were to give someone that was starting off from scratch right now some advice up front,
Mhm.
what would you say is the first thing that they should be doing when they look at building this practice up?
Well, if you're just starting out, you probably don't have too much of a marketing budget. So I would go all in on everything that's kind of free to use, like going hard on social media. I would do what we're doing now. I would have a podcast where I'm talking and cut it into short clips. I would kind of pick specific topics or niches and really focus on them. Like if there's a large corporation around your office, I would find a way to target to those people specifically. Or like pick veterans, for example, and target to them
Mhm.
specifically. Join charities and do things like that to connect with them. These are all very low budget options. But again, with marketing, if it's low budget, it's usually high effort. And if it's high budget, it's a little bit low effort. So
So I think that's one thing that's really gotten messed up within this industry, though, is I think a lot of people don't want to put the effort in.
Mhm.
You know, and so you come from other industries, coming into the financial services industry. Do you feel like that the whole concept of marketing is a little skewed because people just expect that's just going to happen magically?
I think where advisors get the word marketing wrong is they just kind of run a campaign and then stop. They don't continuously market. So, for example, I see advisors book seminars
Mm-hmm.
and they'll run that campaign for 2 or 3 weeks and then they'll consider that marketing for a couple of months, where it has to be more continuous, like pre-seminar marketing, during seminar marketing, post-seminar marketing, building the interest for people to attend your next one so you're not spending so much on ad spend. You're just emailing prospective clients that want to come to these seminars. And they're all just kind of
Interesting.
doing, hey, here's your marketing plan for 2 weeks. They do it and then stop. Same with social media. They'll create a video. A lot of our advisors do this. They create a video, post it, and then they won't for a month again. Where what's the point? Just you got to be continuous with it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, don't you agree that marketing's not instant?
No, nothing's instant. Not sales isn't instant. Marketing's not instant. Building a business isn't instant. You have to keep at it. You have to put in the elbow grease and keep working at it.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about this business is that when you look at us comparatively speaking to the outside world of Nike and Reebok and I don't even know it, Lululemon, whoever you want to pick,
Mm-hmm.
they never stop marketing, no matter what the market's doing. I read an article yesterday on Peloton. They dropped another 14% the other day because they were expecting another third quarter over third quarter loss of 8%. They're still marketing. You know what I mean? Even when they're getting beat, they're still marketing because they know that the kiss of death is to stop. And I see a lot of advisors, they just lose that momentum. They lose that ability to kind of take their practice and control it and run it. They just kind of live on a methodology of hope.
Yeah. And what's interesting too, financial advisors kind of have it easy because every other marketing organization, they have to figure out an emotional connection to what they're selling. So if you're selling software, how do you get someone emotional about that? If you're selling a car or a high-end bag, how do you make someone emotional about that where they want it? Money and legacy is the most emotional thing to all human beings.
Interesting.
So it's a topic, and it's in the news every day. So you don't even have to really come up with content. You can just talk about what the latest president is doing, or how the market's doing the other day, and keep doing that. So they really have it easy in that regard, but
What-
no one's grabbing that.
Yeah. So what do you say about the advisor though that says they're camera shy? They don't want to get in front of people. They're scared to speak in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want to be seen. How do they overcome those fears?
Well, if you don't want to go on the camera and film yourself, you can still use audio, use images, but you can't. You For any business, you can't hide yourself and think the business is going to be successful,
Right.
especially a small business. You know, you have to get out of your comfort zone in doing it. I don't really like going on camera, and I do it. I don't
You're doing it right now.
Yeah, I don't even like the sound of my voice, and I can hear it in these headphones, but I do it, and
Right.
and it goes very far. In other industries that I worked, just by doing 2 or 3 podcasts, it brings high value attention to you. This is where other people hear about you that are doing the same thing or trying to do what you're doing and connect with you.
Yeah, it's like the anti-commercial commercial,
Mhm.
right? You're not out just doing a 30-second pitch. You're actually really able to get to know the person, build that trust, that rapport with them, and listen to it on your demand, which
Mhm.
is really a nice way to go about it. Don't you think this is a good way for advisors though to get their message out to their clients as far as what's going on economically speaking, with the markets, with different things, different tax laws? I mean, these are great ways to get them out there without having to spend a ton of money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have to spend some money on getting things set up. For the most part, you have the most expensive part, which your iPhone or Android phone can handle,
Mm-hmm.
video recording and audio recording. But yeah, just putting in a little bit of effort, a small post or a small podcast or anything like that can go a very far way for your business. And even,
it.
when things are rough in the market, conversations that you have with your clients, you can then take that, turn it into content, and send it into the rest of your clients. So if you have a customer call because they're worried that the stock market's crashing, you can take that conversation. You don't have to use their name, but explain how to everybody how you explain to him how it's going to be all right, how you recommend just sitting tight, waiting for things to happen, and then send out that to every one of your clients. And you're kind of being proactive so that you won't get those phone calls. Because if one person's feeling that way, you can guarantee other people are feeling that way. So that's why I think advisors have it easy in terms of marketing and coming up with to say to their clients.
Yeah, and that's where I think the industry has failed the advisors. I think the most of the FMOs, BDs, RAs out there don't focus on what marketing really is. They just say mail more, try to do more things, but they're missing the repurposing of things. They're missing the ability for people to reach out on a cost effective manner. But you're right. I mean, I'm in this business because something hit me with my father passing away young, so that was allowing me to have a purpose in this business and the why behind this business. But I see so many advisors that, without a respect, are relatively lazy or scared or a combination of the two. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why, with the way the technology is now, how easy it is to get this thing out. You and I just came in here, sat down, started recording. We have it set up. We spent the money to do it. But over time, this is going to be something that allows us to get this message out and repeat it over and over and over. What do they say? Rinse, wash, repeat, something like that.
Exactly, yeah.
So, I think that's going to be an important factor. We have advisors in the other room right now that are here for training. And when I showed them the aspect of consistency and how much more of a difference that makes in their bottom line, how much money they're leaving on the table, these advisors were blown away at how much money they were leaving on the table that was unnecessary, that if they just have a proper marketing strategy structured, they'd be putting themselves in a lot more positive position for profitability.
Yeah, and that's similar to what I was just teaching about Automate, is you can set up marketing campaigns and we can track it to see how successful it is, right to how many deals closed from. For example, I went over email campaigns in Automate. So if we can send out one email campaign to 500 people, out of the 500, 5 have a positive reaction to it, one of them actually close more business from it, one of those leads to close more business, didn't that, what's essentially free to send email campaigns, wasn't it worth the effort to do that, and using a tool like Automate to track that all got done? And we can see from this one email, you got 10 appointments. From the 10 appointments, you closed 2 bookings.
Yeah. Because with the data, that's where you're able to make the decisions to where to put your efforts towards, right?
Yep.
So, you can send out 5 different emails and see that 4 of them were terrible, but one of them hit. Then you can put your effort towards that. And a lot of times I think the advisors are missing the fact that one case that they could potentially close could cover all that marketing cost for the year. And if they do that 11 more times, that's all pure profit.
Yeah.
That's all put them in a position where their company's growing rapidly with very little effort.
Yeah. I want to go back to something you said. You said a lot of advisors just mail out, and that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
What are they mailing out?
They don't know.
No, but
They're mailing out bullet points that come from larger conglomerates that tend to get people in the room. The question is, are those people coming into the room because of the bullet points or because of the piece of the steak on the front page?
Yeah.
Right. I'm at a point in my career, and maybe I'm lucky and fortunate and blessed or all the above. But I'm at a point in my career where we are starting to qualify people to even let them come to our seminars.
Mhm.
I'd much rather have a room of 10 people that are quality, that are really at a point where they're trying to grow their lives or put themselves in a position where they have peace of mind, that type of scenario, than I'd rather for my ego to have 30 people in a room that are just there to eat my food.
Mhm.
Right. But I don't think most advisors know what they're sending out, David. I don't think they know what their message is. I don't think they know what their value is that they bring to the actual public.
Yeah.
I think that the most advisors are messed up because they don't realize that they're providing such value to people. If they do this right, it's more than just a job. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I don't think they know what they're sending out. I think they need to sit down and kind of reevaluate what it is that they bring to the public and what they can do to better the situation.
Yeah.
But right now they're just relying on a postcard.
Which is interesting too, and the reason I asked this question is there's two parts to it. The first one is, if you're an advisor and you're not putting effort into building your brand, social media posts, nice website, connecting with the community, and you're sending your community postcards, almost how dare you?
Right.
Because I'm going to receive this piece in the mail. Maybe it resonates with me. Then I look you up and I can't find anything about you. Why would I
Interesting.
go? Why would I go to that seminar? Because you didn't even have the effort to put into me getting to know you quickly by looking up on you online. Like, what are your specialties? How can you help me versus another advisor? What makes you different?
Are you going to be here in 6 months?
Yeah. How long have you been here? You're asking me to trust you with the most personable thing to me in my life is money and legacy and everything like that. But you're not putting any effort in to show me that
The
you're
trust
worth it.
is deserved.
Yep.
You use the word trust, and that's the hardest thing to overcome.
Mhm.
But it's one of the hardest things to overcome because people don't put the effort in, like you just said. You just nailed it. I mean, that's a very interesting observation.
We can cut that part. Put it on Instagram.
Put that out there, man.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is, man. It's people are missing the trust aspect of it. That's what's wrong with this industry. I just asked all these advisors that are out in our room right now,
Mhm.
why do you do what you do? And every one of them is because I want to help the people I care about. I want to help my community. I want to build, this community become something bigger and better. And I want to be a better version of what my relatives have been. I want to just grow something amazing. And I said, what do you think your clients think about you? And what do you think they think that you're doing it for? And they said money.
Mhm.
There's a huge disconnect because the vast majority of good advisors out there want to help people, but the vast majority of consumers see them as people who just want to make money off of them.
Exactly. And if you're not working on getting that message out there on platforms that are free, and I'm going to keep poking at that, then you won't ever stand out from the crowd. You won't
Yep.
ever. To me, I'm not even going to meet with you unless I kind of know about you. It's the same thing for me finding someone I like online and listening to their podcast. I hear a clip of them or maybe see something from them online. Then I go do a quick research. Who are they? Do we have anything in common? Okay, I like them. I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to follow.
Right.
So it's the same thing. And I don't know. To me, again, I say it. I think financial advisors have it really easy to have topics and content ideas come to them on the daily basis. It's
So
just
why
a
don't they
matter of-
do it?
Like you said, they're lazy, they're camera shy, full of excuses mostly.
Do you
Some of
think
them,
it has something to do with the fact that they just maybe they don't even believe in what they're peddling?
yeah, but hopefully we're not working with advisors.
No,
like
but
that.
I think in general, I think a lot of people, when they're looking at putting themselves out there online, they're,
Mhm.
this is one thing that Dan Martella talks about quite a bit is the whole premise of getting 4 or 5 social media posts out a day every single day is not necessarily to have your business absolutely scale overnight.
Mhm.
He talks about how it took him 10 years to make money before he even did anything with social media. But what it did make him do is realize who the hell he was. So my question is, are these advisors really in a situation where they just don't actually believe, or do they not actually feel like they know what they should know, and so they're not as confident as they should be by putting that stuff out there? Because I know stuff. I know what I can do to help people. I'm very confident in the fact that I can help people grow their businesses, protect their retirements, whatever that is that they're looking at doing. I'll put that out there because people can hold me accountable. Is it, and this is just a thought, but is it a situation where people are not doing it because they're not that sure of it? They're maybe slinging a product versus being an advisor.
that could be very true, and it could explain why they're not doing well because clients can feel that you don't believe in what you're selling them, and then they kind of walk away from it, or they
Mm.
just don't show up. And so if you run a seminar and you truly don't believe or don't have a good why as to you're doing it, you're probably not going to close as many bookings as if you had a good
Mm.
why and you can make that relatable to the clients. Then, so yeah, that's probably very true.
So, one of the things that we did when you came on board with us, which has been awesome, less than a year, but we've accomplished a lot of really cool
Hmm.
things for Motivate and what we can do for advisors. But kind of the creme de la creme right now would be the Automate system and the Done For You program that we have with people. Do you mind giving them just a little bit of a background on what the idea was, the intent behind building out the Automate system is,
Hmm.
but also what that can do for people? Because I think for those of you that are listening right now that are maybe scared to get out there, there's a lot of things that we can do to help fix that for you or ease you into that point of becoming that marketing person you should be.
Yeah. So I would say Automate started as a software idea to give the ultimate tool to advisors to help them excel with sales, marketing, bookings, everything they would need a software to do. But we've grown beyond that, like many other software companies now, where we're also offering services. And the idea is for us to hold advisors accountable to make sure they're doing the minimum that they should do in terms of marketing and connecting with their clients through email or in the CRM and all of that. So, like to me, if you don't have a team or you have a small team, the tool becomes your assistant or your more efficient tool. Or I don't even know how to say that properly, but it makes you more efficient or your team more efficient because the process is in there. Everything's been tested. Everything can be tracked. So, for example, if you send out an email asking your leads to book an appointment with you, we can track how many people we sent that email to. We can track how many people actually booked an appointment from that email. We can track how many opportunities were created from that email, and we can track how many deals were won from those opportunities.
Sounds like to me like you're trying to make people a business owner
Yeah, rather than yeah, exactly.
rather than just by hope.
And knowing these metrics is important because now you know what to focus on. You'll know what your niche is, and then you
Right.
can go all in. And things change. You know what worked 3 months ago won't work today, but you can look at the data and you can say, well, I'm gonna keep putting effort into emailing people links to my podcast because that gets them to book meetings to me. Especially if I'm talking about front page news, they listen to it, they get to know me, they can hear my expertise, and then they book the appointment with me. Then there's also things that you can do, like how you should be nurturing leads that you've essentially paid for. So if you've done the seminar thing, what are you doing post seminar to make sure your leads are being nurtured?
Sure.
What are you doing after the seminar to make sure your leads are being nurtured? How many appointments did you book after the seminar? How many appointments did you book a week after the seminar? These are all things anyone on Automate will know. So it, like I said, it becomes the ultimate tool to know exactly how to drive your business.
I love it. I love it. And I know that you have to get going because you have another
Hmm.
call coming up for the Automate system actually to go
Hmm.
through the Done For You program and how we can brainstorm on different ways to build this. The cool thing is it's never stuck. It's never a static business. We have the ability to continuously grow with
Hmm.
with the world out there. I see a lot of our competitors, if you will, that are still stuck in the mud in certain ways and are not changing, evolving. And I love the fact that we're innovating for this. So I appreciate you jumping on, man. I think
Got a good video?
we got some. We just lost one of our cameras. I think that one died. I
Yeah,
think-
it's good. That
I
one's
thi-
gonna die too.
No, that one's the one that's on.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you'll see the
No,
red.
this is really cool. If you can do this weekly
We could do this mostly daily on some of the stuff.
for Motivate and for Terrio Group,
Shut it off real quick.